Okay, this is the fourth time I've tried this video. And if I don't get it done now, I'm not going to do one today because I think the gods are trying to tell me to not bother. So, good afternoon, everybody. It's Lynn, the Leather Bag Lady. How are you all today? On this beautiful Tuesday, Leather Bag Lady weather report. It's about 24 degrees out. It's kind of hazy, but windy, 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 windy. And I, first of all, tried to do this video because Pius was calling me and I was bringing his truck back from the dealership. And I thought if I don't answer him, he'll think I'm in a ditch. Then I tried it again. My son is taking my little car to get an oil change. He was calling me and I'm like, oh shit, what's happened? And then I did it the third time and I tried to move my phone to show you the pile of bags I'm working on and I turned the video off. So we will try for the fourth and last time. So today's bag is in keeping with the theme of yesterday's bag, which is color, 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 color. Probably even a little more unique than yesterday's baby blue offering, which in and of itself was a little unique. But this little guy is mustard yellow, which I'm not sure of the date. I've listed this bag as an 80s bag, but it has that kind of 60s velvet interior. So I'm not sure. It could be 60s, but I'm going to stick with 80s. The listing's already up on Etsy, so I'm going to stick with that, but it could even be a little earlier than that. Very similar in shape to yesterday's bag, just a little shorter on length end, and just cute, cute, cute. Love the chain detail, which is very, very much on trend right now. Not a super long strap, 19-inch, so unless you're a very petite person, it probably will only lend itself to a shoulder bag. Nice, purposeful gusset, which is going to allow you to put a lot of cool stuff in here. It is by Canadian brand Mastercraft, which has been around since the late 50s out of Montreal. Couldn't find a lot out about this brand, which was a little frustrating because I do have a number of their bags and I have come across them many times in the past. So there's a number of them on Etsy right now, but there's not much in these beautiful kind of, not even a, this isn't really a jewel tone color, but colored leather is, especially back in this era, the tanning process for leather is very labor intensive. And I know that the newer techniques are a lot quicker, but use a lot of chemicals. And I'm suggesting that these methods back in the 50s, 60s, which a lot of what I have in my stock is Canadian made, which I love. You know, the color is a lot more pure and the color is penetrative. I find that the bags today that are colors, the color is just on the surface. Whereas some of these older bags, the color, I don't know if I can show you. Yeah. Well, I don't know that this goes right the way through either. But I know that a lot of the colors, the color penetrates right into the hide as opposed to just being a skim on top. So if you get a scratch, it's not the color that comes through the scratch, if you know what I mean. So these vintage bags are just, I don't know why anybody would use non-leather materials. I know that it is supposed to be eco-friendly, sustainable, and I've talked about this before, and I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit. Matt and Nat, David Jones, some of these kind of brands that are just regularly using vinyl and pleather and all this kind of stuff. How sustainable is it when you're going to put an item eventually in a landfill that will never decompose? This leather is a natural material. It will, over time, decompose. Now, not suggesting that maybe the lining and such will decompose, but this outer shell will go back into the earth. What is wrong with that? The cow, the lamb, the pig, the whatever material that is, whatever the leather base is, well, maybe I shouldn't say that because nobody's, you know, we We consume sheep as a food source. We consume pigs as a food source. We consume cows hugely as a food source. So why not use the whole animal? The animal has most times been bred for food consumption, but now you've got, parts of the cow that, why waste it? Use it to create, beautiful stuff. And if you're a thrifter, go out and get it for $10 and, $15, $20. It's not $5 anymore, I can assure you. So anyway, that is today's bag and my little soapbox speech about these Matt and Nat. I follow Miss Philly, who is in Winnipeg. She is a reseller, and she will sometimes pick up Matt and Nat bags. And the first thing she checks for is cracks, because the material cracks. And my suspicion would be that in the harsher temperatures, which Winnipeg gets way harsher winters than we do here in Southern Ontario, it gets cold and it is prone to cracking. And so what is, and they're not cheap. I bought one years ago and ended up getting buyer's remorse. So I took it back. I didn't even use it. And it cost me a couple $100. Now this was probably, I'm going to say 15, 16 years ago, maybe even longer than that, 20 years ago. And they were just starting to be a brand of note. So the price point was probably quite a bit higher. I bought it at a little boutique in Bronte in Oakville. And like I said, I got buyer's remorse and took it back. So beautiful bag, but didn't realize it was pleather or whatever the material is, polyurethane, or the material that lady told me one of my leather bags was. If you follow me regularly, you will remember a couple of years ago, it wasn't even a couple of years ago. I think it was this kind of last summer. I had a lady buy a Adrienne Vidadini tiered. It had like ruffles, beautiful. I almost thought it was lambskin. It was so soft. And she wanted a refund because she said there was not one piece of leather on this bag. It was 100% polyurethane, and it was on a weekend, so I couldn't get this. I mean, it made me doubt myself to the point where I took the bag to a leather craftsman just so that I could say, listen, bitch, don't like to belittle my customers, but if you have buyer's remorse, if you can't afford it, if you just tell me. I offer a refund policy. There is a restocking fee, but don't bullshit me. Because, I was messed up for days, because the last thing I want is to dupe my customers. And I would never, ever do that. I mean, I've been duped a few times. Just, I've bought a few Doonies that turned out to be fakes. Quite a few, actually. And I mean, it's so silly because the bags are actually leather, but they're not authentic Dooney Borks. David Jones has got me a few times back in the early days. And there was one other brand that Hillary Radley, I think. She does a combination of both. And I don't get it, but the fakes are out there. And it's difficult to spot them if you're not a trained eye. And one telltale sign is if you see a bag and you're not sure it's leather, the sniff test doesn't always work. Like that little bag that I just showed you, there's no scent to it. If there's a stretch. Now, leather will have an organic stretch, which is just an ever so slight stretch. Like you shouldn't be able to see real tension in the material itself. And if that's the case, then it's not a leather fabric. But some of them are so good, you can barely tell. And as I said, I have been duped a few times and got it home and was like, back in the donation pile it goes. So anyway, we had a great night last night. Went to the Blue Jays game. They did not have a good game. I know nothing about anything. And but I know that when you only score in 1 out of 9 innings, I don't think that's a good thing. So Pius was just laughing at me because I was just rambling on about all kinds of nonsense. how many pitchers they went through, and the fact that the pitcher that normally comes out in the ninth inning, if he doesn't come out in the ninth inning, he doesn't play at all and earns all this freaking money for nothing. My dad was a professional soccer player in the 60s and 70s. And yeah, 60s and 70s. He went into coaching in the 80s. And he used to make $200 a week, which back in the 60s and 70s was a lot of money. My mom would go to the butcher and go to the baker. I'm not about to sing a nursery rhyme, believe me. But back in the UK, you would shop daily, and they knew who my mom was, and they would charge her more for her groceries because they knew who she was. And and my mom never lived that kind of, I mean, it's not like it is today where you're superstars or whatever. But yeah, it was an interesting few years in the beginning of my little life. So anyway, we got home late. Pius had to pick up his pickup truck at the dealership. We couldn't get into it. Pius forgot that he could do it on his phone. So my son just came and got me, and I went up and got the truck and drove it home. Shit myself the whole way home. It's huge. It's a big pickup truck. And I was nervous because God forbid I do it. And I mean, Pius is wonderful. I don't think he would have blown a gasket if something had happened, but it's home. It's parked, not very well, but it's parked. I can't spatially assess I can't even get my distance from the curb right with my little car because I've got kind of fancy wheels on it. So if I get too close to the curb, I scrape the wheels. And I mean, they're a mess now, but I try not to do that. So it means I tend to be a little farther away from the curb. But when you're driving a Toyota Echo, which is about this size, it's not a huge deal. But in a big F-150 pickup truck, as I'm spitting all over the place, not being close to the curb, I was pretty well in the middle of the road. So my son's like, Mom, you need to move the truck closer to the curb. So I did that, and there we go. But as I said, Pius was calling me, and I thought I better answer it because he'll think I'm in a ditch. And then Harry was calling me, and I'm like, oh my God, what's happened to my little car? Then I tried to show you this pile of bags that I am, oh my goodness me, this is so difficult, that I'm working on, and I hit the stop button. So that ended that attempt at my video. So this is attempt number 4. And as I said, if something happens to this one, sorry folks, you're not getting a video today. So we are going to look at a van this evening, hopefully a couple hours away. But we're very excited about that. If you follow me, we lost out on a van that we were going to buy. This is a compromise for a trailer. And to be honest, I think it might even be a better idea. We've gone from a trailer to a little bit more of a kind of road trek, camper van, but it's just too much money. And we're not even 100% sure we're going to like it. I think we will, but I'm not spending a lot of money to find out that I don't even like it. So we're just going to go cheap and cheerful to start with and do a good job of building this little, almost more of a minivan than a camper van. And we're just going to go and camp and hang out and do whatever with the van community and see how we love it. And then we'll take it from there. So hopefully that will be this evening's activities. It is a couple of hours away, but it's just a road trip with my honey, and that's always a wonderful thing. So on that note, I'm going to love you and leave you, and hopefully you're having a great day. Tomorrow I will not be doing a video. I am taking my mom to Sarnia to visit with her sister, who is still having a really, really tough time grieving the very, very unexpected death of my cousin, her son. And it's my mom's identical twin, so they have phantom pains for each other. And it's just, my aunt is kind of on her own now, and she really needs that support. So I said, I will take you. It's about 2.5, 3 hours away. So I'll take her and come back hopefully in the same day. And that's that. So I won't see you tomorrow, hopefully Thursday. I'm having a wicked hot flash, so I'm going to go get my fan. Have a wonderful day, everybody.